Good evening, listeners. Today we're going to investigate the claims that Adolf Trump is building a bunker underneath his brand new 90,000 square foot ballroom. Now, to look into the truth of that, I've looked on Snoops, and of course, what they're saying is it is true that Hitler started his bunker in 1933 by calling it a ballroom. And of course, one of the objects of building a bunker is you try to disguise it. It will be one of the worst kept secrets in Washington if, in fact, he is building a bunker. Now, I can't imagine why you would want to dig up all that property and destroy the East Wing until you realize that the East Wing has a bunker underneath it already. So, to tie into that bunker, you have to demolish the building on top of it. So, it seems to me that Trump is building himself a bunker.
Well, I mean,
Any
that
comment?
seems to be the case. I mean, it was something that Hitler had done as well prior to his massive war in Europe and around the world. So, what I'd like to ask the people is, do you think that this is a strategic move of Trump to build a bunker for his own protection?
Well, he's certainly stirring up enough hornets around the world that he may need protection. And you have
Well,
to wonder about the security that's going into this ballroom. First of all, there's no public funds involved, and they make that sound like a good thing, that they have a list of private donors that are actually going to fund this. And if you look at the private donors, they're all billionaire buddies of his in the Republican Party. And one of the advantages of having private money would be that you don't need to go to the government to request funds and therefore show them what it is you're going to do with the money. So
but the
Trump
Secret
hasn't given.
Service is in charge of the security there. So the Secret Service, when asked, said they can't say anything. So I'm not sure if the Secret Service has a budget that they slush fund for upgrades as well as the money from the donors. That amount of money that he's getting from donors is way exceeds the cost of building a ballroom. So we have to believe one of two things. The extra money is going to the Trump family as a commission fee or whatever on top of, or the extra funds that are donated are going to a state-of-the-art bunker. And if you look at the donors, they're all state-of-the-art tech companies, people with vested interests and possible connections for contract work within the bunker system. And the Secret Service is in charge of security for the bunker. Now, I did some research, and Trump used the bunker once before. He used it in 2020, and I think there was another person used the bunker as well prior to this event, and I just can't
9
find the
11.
article. Yeah, 9/11 was the other time it was used. So it has been used before, and Trump, with his insurrection of 2020 election, is aware of how easily the security can be breached. And I think that's why he's more concerned about building his bunker to be like Fort Knox, something that is impenetrable and is also reinforced for bombs. Because recently he has announced that the U.S. is going to start testing nuclear weapons again. And that's a real warning sign when you're reinforcing and modernizing your bunker and the desire never to give up power in the United States. So this is going to be his new office to run the government if there's never an election held again in the United States. Scary times, folks.
Well, you have to wonder what would motivate people to give money to a project like this when they're destroying a piece of history. You would perhaps not want your name associated with that destruction. However, when you look at the corporate donors meta platforms, which is Mark Zuckerberg, and
Yeah.
of course, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They, of course, engage in federal digital policy initiations and AI oversight forums. Apple, of course, everybody knows Apple. Amazon is in there like a dirty
Yeah.
shirt donating money. Google, just agreed to a $24.5 million settlement in a dispute with Trump earlier about his YouTube ban. So they bought Trump with 24 million dollars. They're donating money. Lockheed Martin, of course, they make the F-35, which is guaranteeing that if Canada doesn't buy it, they're going to come up with some kind of sanctions against Canada.
Oh yeah.
Just a list of who's who. Microsoft, of course, they do the cloud provider for multi-billion-dollar federal contracts. Of course,
Yeah.
they're going to donate to a new ballroom.
But is
Comcast,
this
which
a
is the
form of is this a form of extortion, or is it a form of bribery or buying political favor? And don't the U.S. have laws against that sort of stuff? I mean, this is not business of the government. It's business of Trump for his own pleasure. Like to breach the laws, like for building the building, it's clear that he breached the federal protocols for building a building and no environmental impact studies and no oversight on building it. Doesn't that seem strange that the government in power, which is Republican, is not standing up against Trump at all? That to me is
Well,
the first sign of a dictatorship
I'd like to know how the sales pitch goes. I'm building a new
coming.
ballroom and I need some cash. And oh, by the way, you've got multi-million-dollar contracts with us at the moment that could change at any time. How much can I sign you up for? Like, you have to wonder whether that kind of strong arm techniques are being used, because how would these companies find out he was even building a ballroom unless somebody solicited the companies and gave them the pitch? So it will be interesting in the future to see if any of these companies, once Trump turns on them, which ultimately he always does, if somebody comes up and says the only reason we donated this money is because he threatened he would take away our government contracts. It smacks of cronyism, fraud, all kinds of issues. Buying politicians should be
Well,
interesting.
the one factor that I find really appalling is the cryptocurrency. I mean, what the world sees now is the cryptocurrency as a way of laundering dirty money. And it's also a very powerful tool to buy Trump's favor. He has two involvements in cryptocurrency, and billions of dollars has been funneled into those accounts. And there's no traceable records of where that money goes, how that money's divvied up, but it is going in, and they do know that. And this is where the world has to draw the line, is that cryptocurrency is only for illegal criminal activity, and it should never be allowed to exist on the stock market or be traded. And this is why, folks, is because governments can be bought, and you have no way of tracing what happened and how they bought their way into the government. But you will feel it in your taxpayer dollar, your services, and it will harm the average person. The wealthy oligarchs and the billionaires have now got means of controlling every person and everything beneath them financially. So beware, people. Cryptocurrency is a means of marketing black money and bribes in politics.
It's not just restricted to the United States. In Ontario, Ford is seeking to scrap fixed election dates and raise the minimum or maximum donation to political parties. So
They don't have to disclose any donations in Alberta or how much was donated by Smith's new rules here. So they're all conservative wing governments are going for covering up where their money is coming from for their elections and the benefits that they receive for favorable laws that harm the taxpayer and voters.
you look at even the individuals that are on the list of donators, all of them have some kind of vested interest either in cryptocurrency or security work. For example, a company that I had never heard of before, and I'd be surprised if too many people had, it's Plantier Technologies, a data analytics company that had a surge in major federal surveillance and border security contracts under the Trump administration.
Yeah,
Never heard of them. You know, Coinbase, cryptocurrency exchange, pushing for looser crypto regulations.
yeah. There's a
It
couple cryptocurrency owners that are donating, and rightly so. They want to keep the ability to buy and sell and trade money and favors out of the public eye and make people unaware of how the money's moving. So that's a problem. Big, big, big red flag there. But the one name we don't see, where's Elon Musk? We know he's got to be involved there somewhere. Is he the anonymous $130 million donator to the military budget for payment? And is that really where the 130 million is going, or is it going directly into the upgrades of the bunker? And when we look at the bunker issue again, folks, I'm going to bring up that Hitler did this. It's right out of the Hitler playbook. There's been other dictators around the world that also built ballrooms above their bunkers. And is Elon Musk's salute at the inauguration of Trump, was that a prelude to this plan of building the bunker? It's part of the 2025 agenda book that Meg is modeling their policies over. That salute of Hitler was whitewashed in the media, and I don't think it should have been. I think it's more important to understand that Trump has given pardons for people who were definitely swaying towards white supremacists and the Nazi movement in the U.S. He gave pardons to those people that rose up to try to overthrow the government in 2020. And that is starting to cause a ripple effect where you're starting to see more blatant and outgoing symbolism of Nazism. Even here in Calgary, where Magga Smith has started adopting more policies similar to Trump, we're starting to see things like swastikas on doors. And this is in the southeast of Calgary, folks. There's a swastika. It's not really a swastika. It's a Hindu sign, but it's just the same symbol. As we see it, it is a swastika, whether it's in that orientation or not. It is the symbol of a swastika. And it's being more blatant around, and you can't do anything about it because they just go and claim, oh, it's a Hindu symbol. Well, yes, no, maybe, but it's unacceptable. Remembrance Day is coming up, and lest we forget, these signs of blatant Nazism showing up around in our communities and the support of Trump for these type of people is becoming an issue around the world. And I have concerns when you start emulating exactly what Hitler's been doing, and you're doing it in the U.S. So, folks, the reason we bring this up is very simple. These type of signs and indicators show that there is a trend towards these radical white supremacist support throughout society in North America, whether in the U.S. or even in Alberta and in Canada. So we have to be on guard and hold our vigil. And, you know, if it is a Hindu symbol, understand that that symbol has been changed forever since it was used in World War II, and atrocities to Jews and many, many other races around the world. And to present these on your doors is unacceptable in today's modern world. It symbolizes a tie to Nazism, and whether it is or not, the fact is that symbol now is forever tied to Hitler and Nazism.
back on the ballroom. Apparently, Musk has not yet donated to the.
I think he's that $130 million anonymous donator, and he just didn't want it tied directly to the bunker. So he's saying that's for wages of the military. But
well, I don't think he's probably got as much as he wants out of Trump yet. don't forget they had the little dust up
Yeah,
where Musk acknowledged that Trump was in the Epstein files, and the Epstein files are still unresolved, which means that until they bury Epstein for good, there's always the possibility that other information can come out tying both Trump and his wife to Jeffrey, and so maybe there's something going on there because everybody, not everybody else, but all the other donors seem to have a connection somehow with Trump, either by paying fines or having court cases for or against their organizations in front of the court. So corruption comes to mind. Like I don't know what
well,
else you can say.
that's the money laundering aspect of cryptocurrency, and we'll never be able to follow the money. It used to be easy to follow the money through banks. Back in the 1980s, 1990s, that money is traceable, and that's what's got Trump worried, is because all this Epstein pedophilia goes to the fact that it ran through most of the model agencies around the world, and a couple of the organizers of model agencies were convicted of such. And the fact that Trump has always been sort of arm's length distance from it, but still looks like he's involved in it, is using a front man like Epstein to do his bidding. Like how does Epstein know that Trump couldn't buy the estate he was bidding on that caused their rift? Well, Epstein knew his finances. He also loaned money to Trump, apparently, during that time, and he knew that Trump was broke. So where was the money coming? And then the building was later sold for millions to a Russian oligarch. So you start seeing this correlation, and you start wondering why all these businesses are donating for a ballroom. I mean, is Trump got information on them? Is that the extortion? Is there information of these high profile figures, or is it something else that's going on that we're not aware of? And that's why you have to be careful, and that's why a felon running the United States that has allegations of pedophilia and sexual assault and all these allegations against him, this is a crime boss in the making, and he is building a bunker that is going to allow him to protect himself when he tries to overthrow the government of the United States. It's a control center. Right now it is a control center, and he's modernizing the control center so that if there is an insurrection that he mounts, he's going to have the ability to be safe from being taken out while he implements it. That's my take on it. I could be wrong, but the writing
For those
on the wall, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So
for those that don't know, Snoops is a website that investigates claims on the internet to try to distinguish whether there's any truth behind them or not. And their website has an interesting read that has an actual picture of the inside of the Hitler ballroom. And shockingly, it looks just like the pictures that Trump was holding up. It's got marble columns, the Greek columns. It's got square ceilings, and it wouldn't surprise me. It's a black and white picture, but it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't also gold leaf everywhere. And of course, they're
yeah,
pointing out the fact that in Hitler's ballroom, they've got little swastikas all over the roof as part of the design feature.
yeah.
Again, it'll be interesting to see whether Trump has his little Trump sign on all these little parts of the ballroom. And another question: if you give hundreds or tens of millions of dollars to build a ballroom for Trump, is that a tax deduction? Is there not only a benefit
Oh
there
yeah.
because it's pay for play, so you're paying Trump to play, and then you're getting a tax deduction on top of that, so you're getting multi millions of dollars worth of government contracts, as well as writing off giving part of that money back to Trump, essentially. It's corruption of the first
Corruption
degree.
at its finest. And the art of the corruption is what his book should actually be, and the art of avoiding jail time. This guy has done so many criminal activities in the public eye and yet he's not behind bars. If you or I did that, we'd be behind bars. So folks, it is a two-tiered legal system. Those with money get away with literally murder. As Trump had said, he could murder somebody on the streets of New York and he'd get away with it. And people like you and me, we trip and fall on somebody by accident and we're charged with assault and get 20 years in jail. There's a difference.
A lot of people may wonder, how could Trump do this? Does he have authorization to destroy historical buildings? And one of the things that has happened over the last year is Trump has removed all of the former stopgaps, the historical associations, the planning boards, and he's removed the former presidents of these CEOs of these organizations that are supposed to plan whatever goes on in Washington and preserve the buildings, and appointed his own appointees. He has also ignored them. He hasn't given them the plans. He's just doing
Well, those
whatever
are
he wants.
breaking of the law. He has been told by the Supreme Court he can do whatever he wants, and he's doing whatever he wants. He's not even answering to the Senate or the House of Representatives. He's not answering to anybody. He's feels he's above the law, and he's acting accordingly. And I mean, that's why he's using missiles to blow up fishermen in boats. He's telling anybody, you stand in my way, I don't care if you're a fisherman or a drug smuggler. I'm just using the excuse you're in my way, and I'm going to blow you up. And that's why he probably needs the bunker, is he realizes that it could declare war and make a civil war pretty easy when he's got ice on the streets, making people disappear, and people aren't going to tolerate it forever. And when they uprise, then he's got his civil war, and he's got a great bunker to operate. That's why he called the generals. Which generals are going to support him? That's why he met with the generals. Those that didn't support him, he's removed or they retired. And this is a problem, folks. And now he's declared he's going to bomb Venezuela. He has openly declared that he's going to do it. And then when asked by reporters, he said, no, I'm not going to. But surely he is. He stated and hinted at it, and I do believe he's going to. He's moved all his military might within the confines of a landing invasion. He's got his bombers and everything flying in the areas. He's done his surveillance planes for where he's going to target. And folks, he's already implemented CIA operatives in the country to help move that along. And I do believe that's going to be the next maneuver that's coming down the pipe. And that's why he's trying to rush the upgrades to the bunker. He knows what's coming because he's already planned it. And he wants it all done before the next election cycle, and that's next fall, and it's well underway to be done by then. So this is going to be really an eye-opener for people in the United States and for around the world. It's going to affect all of us.
Something of interest is, what are they going to do with all the spoil if they're going to dig out a bunker underneath the new ballroom, if there isn't one there already? When they dig that out, they have to know that their mass ordnance that they dropped on Iran goes down to a depth of at least 200 feet, and they weren't nuclearly armed bombs; they were conventional bombs. So I understand that in order to have a bunker against a nuclear weapon, you got to go down at least 1,000 feet. So it seems to me that it's not to protect himself necessarily from some country armed with nuclear weapons. It would be to protect himself maybe from domestic violence. Otherwise, they're going to have to remove a lot of material. And I don't know how they're going to do that without people seeing.
I don't know. It's very dubious, and it's done on the sly, which tells you, there's something more to the story. And journalists are not allowed to say anything. He's silenced journalists. You have to sign an agreement to go into the White House that you're only going to present what the White House says you present. So that's media censorship, and that's how regimes operate. There's no independent journalism now in the United States overseeing the actions of a rogue government. We got problems, folks.
So anyways, Adolf Trump builds a
That also.
ballroom that is really a bunker, solicits private money on the play for pay from all the, if they were Russian, you'd call them oligarchs, doesn't have to explain himself to the American people that he's destroying a national monument. It's going to be gross. It's going to be gold gilded, you know, unbelievable Henry the 14th, or, whatever the hell it is, architecture. It's awful. It's just going to be awful. And of course, Trump knows how to ballroom dance. We've all seen him
Oh yeah,
do
he's
that
a great
to
dancer.
YMCA. So
Mushroom.
yeah.
The mushroom won't be popping out his pants because there won't be any teenage girls in there. I think people have learned don't put teenage girls around him. He gets a
But
boing out of there.
why the hell would you build a ballroom if you don't dance?
Exactly, and that's another issue. But I wonder if Rotten Donnie is going to have a Rotten Ronnie's down in the bunker. That's a good question. Maybe he's upgrading the food services outlets in the bunker too. I'm sure he's going to have medical doctors down there and MRIs and all sorts of things in the bunker to ensure that his health is at the best it can be. I'm being facetious, folks.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see when he goes to the bunker.
Yeah. So make sure you share, subscribe, like. Thank you, folks, for getting us over 500 subscribers now. We're hoping to get to 1,000 as fast as possible, and we can do better research the more subscribers we have, and help us get better, folks. Thank you.
Subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and please share the video. Don't be afraid to share this commercial with your friends too.